Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Sword Art Online Alicization review. This one's going to be for episode 14, which is called The Crimson Knight. This is also the start of the second core of animation, as noted here by the new opening and ending that we got. Both of which I liked. I still think I prefer the first opening more than this one, but they're both very good openings. It's just that kind of like Crossing Fields for like season 1 of SAO will always be like the opening. Adamas always felt like it feels like it's going to be the like Alicization arc opening, but I think that's always the case with most like first openings. They always tend to get a really good song for that. Don't have too much to say about the ending. It's a nice one. The endings usually have a kind of different tone to the openings, but both fit what's going on here, so I don't really want to talk too much about the new opening and ending, other than that they're both good. As for the episode, we get our first, I suppose, we're basically getting into a big fight gauntlet here. It's just get up to the top of the tower, and along the way on various floors you're going to encounter a bunch of Integrity Knights. That's the setup that we have here. And first up, as soon as they get their weapons back, is Dusselbert Synthesis 7. So Integrity Knight number 7 here, who also was the character who took Alice away in the first place, which we of course get reminded of later on. But as a first big fight, I suppose, with our main characters using their swords, it was really well animated. I like that here's someone using a bow and arrow, and even just his base form of his sword or his bow already, pinning them back. He's firing multiple arrows at once, and our characters are just kind of getting used to fighting him. And in the end, it's kind of like a lot of the fights up to now. Like, it hasn't been overly extended. It's been pretty much just a showcase of one or two big flashy moves, with the main focus of this fight being Dusselbert switching to using his enhanced armament version of his bow, which basically gets rid of the string and the fact that he needs actual physical arrows, and he just fires these flaming phoenix kind of arrows basically at Kirito. And basically, they allow Yu-Gi-Oh to kind of get this fight for the most part, because Kirito does most of the blocking initially by using the kind of spinning shield technique, which was really well animated actually. The arrow turning into him initially blocking it with the ice kind of elements that he made, and then using the spinning shield technique, and the arrow kind of going through the ice, turning into the kind of phoenix, and Kirito eventually blocking it, but it's sending him flying into the wall, allowing the opening for Yu-Gi-Oh to get in close, and Yu-Gi-Oh to really have that first I suppose really big in the heat of the moment time of using the whole channel your emotions through your sword to make it more powerful. And of course, what does Yu-Gi-Oh channel through it is that why is he here is to get Alice back, and that willpower is what allows him to get this victory here. As we see that a weakness of the Integrity Knights is that they're not used to facing combo moves. So the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh uses a 2-part skill on him is something completely brand new to him. And even when they defeat Dusselbert, I like that then they have this conversation with him, because we know both of our characters, they're not going to just, cut someone down like that, despite even the emotional reasons why Yu-Gi-Oh may want to, because here's the guy who took her away in the first place. But they realize, obviously, that he was an Integrity Knight when he did that. The person here is not necessarily, at fault because his memories were taken away. He doesn't realize, I suppose, who he deep down could be if he wasn't an Integrity Knight anymore. And just how you have this idea of him realizing, I don't know everything about swords. Here's skills and abilities I've never seen before. He realizes he was in error earlier on when he was saying that they use dark arts to kind of defeat Eldry, but he now realizes that they're actually just very strong warriors who have skills that he's never seen before. And he sort of realizes the honor of just the fact that they've defeated him and aren't immediately going to kill him. And just the tease that the memory that was taken from him was very clearly his wife, and he doesn't really remember her now, just a slight image of, a hand with a ring on it and kind of being woken up. But then when he wakes up, there's no one actually there. So I like the emotion they're adding to all of these Integrity Knights, that they are characters, they are people who've been taken from this world. Their key emotion, connection to another person taken away and transformed into an Integrity Knight. And we also get the idea here that he kind of had his memories then extracted again, because he doesn't remember basically taking Alice in the first place. Obviously establishing this thing that if any Integrity Knight finds someone who's going to be an Integrity Knight, they have to lose their memories of that. Otherwise it would be very confusing to suddenly see a criminal become the new Integrity Knight. So just establishing that, once again, the Integrity Knight process is not just a one-off thing, that the administrator tends to kind of keep this up, constantly going back and forth over the Integrity Knights to make sure they don't remember anything. It makes you feel some sympathy for them, that it can't just be this case of our characters, Yu-Gi-Oh and Kirito, going up the tower, just killing people all the way up, because there is this kind of factor at play here that they're being opposed because they've effectively been brainwashed. So that's a kind of angle to think about the entire way through this. And then once they kind of get past Dusselbert, kind of just leaving him there to make the decision of, are you going to go back down, accept your punishment, heal, come after us again, or are you going to make the decision for yourself? They let him make that decision, and then they go up the stairs and they're encountered by two girls who have weapons on them. So what's going on here? They act a little bit innocent, so Yu-Gi-Oh and Kirito's guard seems to be down a bit. What exactly is going to happen here? This little section here in between, this first initial two fights with Integrity Knights of Eldry and Dusselbert, compared to where we're going to get in, I suppose, a couple of episodes, this is probably the section I remember the least. I have the least kind of details in my head about what exactly happened from the light novels. So I seem to remember it being maybe not the most interesting one. I think these two are on the cover of one of the books, and the impression I always had was why are these two on the cover of this book? I'd much rather it be this character instead of that one. So that's my initial impression on these two, obviously having not read the book in a while. But as I said, it is this gauntlet of Integrity Knights. As I said, they're going up to floor 15. These two have obviously come down a little bit from the floor above them, and they basically said there's a bunch of other Integrity Knights at play here as well. So a lot to kind of think about going forward, but for the most part this was a fairly straightforward, to the point episode. We do also get a little hint about Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh's perfect weapon control, their enhanced armaments, what their special abilities are going to be, including Yu-Gi-Oh basically mentioning that my ability is not exactly an attack as such. It's not super clear the way I meant to use it, and he just shows Kirito his command basically, because Kirito of course can read the kind of computer kind of coding wording of it. He of course understands immediately, oh, that's what your ability does, whereas I think Yu-Gi-Oh reading Kirito's command probably wouldn't get much out of it. So that's interesting. And he just notes that, oh, your ability will actually work very well with mine. I think Kirito implying that his is more offensive focused, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh seems to be maybe more support focused. And then if you want a comparison for what way you should be kind of thinking about these sword skills, basically think Bleach with the whole Zanpakuto thing. There's the base form of the sword. The Shikai is a kind of a power attached onto the sword, but for the most part it doesn't do anything, super crazy. It still is a sword fundamentally. It's just doing kind of one thing. Then the Bankai in Bleach is the level above that, which is this crazy, super powerful ability that kind of goes above and beyond what it is. You almost kind of lose sight of the fact that it maybe is a sword. It's just this kind of crazy ability that's kind of stemming out from the sword. And I think that's basically the way to consider it here, with the, you know, perfect weapon control, the enhanced armament, and then the memory release kind of thing that we're going to get into as well. So that's going to be fun to see, but I think that's most of what I want to talk about with this episode. It was pretty much just the kind of fight, one or two little kind of bits of dialogue, the further teasing of, you know, the Integrity Knights. I like that we at least got to know Dusselbert a little bit before we kind of just move straight past him. But yeah, I think solid, and I'm just excited for us to get to, I suppose, the more interesting kind of parts of this section of the story. But it's the adaptation, I think, continues to be very, very good. I just don't have a lot of detail to really talk about with this episode specifically. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.